fuse disconnect switch is required at the location of a 60 amps, 208 volts, single-phase receptacle for a portable welder with a manufacturer-installed cord and connector. This requirement stems from the need to provide a readily accessible means of disconnecting the power to the welder for safety and maintenance purposes. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides specific guidelines for the installation of electrical equipment, including welders, to ensure safe operation and prevent electrical hazards. Article 630 of the NEC covers electric welders. Section 630.11 addresses the disconnecting means for welders. It states that a disconnecting means shall be provided for each welder. This disconnecting means must be readily accessible to the operator and must be capable of disconnecting the welder from all ungrounded supply conductors. The purpose of the disconnecting means is to allow the operator to quickly and safely de-energize the welder in case of an emergency or for maintenance purposes. A fuse disconnect switch serves as both a disconnecting means and overcurrent protection for the welder. The fuses within the disconnect switch provide protection against short circuits and overloads, which can damage the welder and create a fire hazard. The size of the fuses must be properly selected based on the welder's nameplate rating to provide adequate protection without causing nuisance tripping. The requirement for a fuse disconnect switch applies to portable welders that are connected to a receptacle via a cord and connector. Even though the welder has a manufacturer-installed cord and connector, a disconnecting means is still required at the receptacle location. This ensures that the operator can easily disconnect the welder from the power supply without having to unplug it from the receptacle. The location of the fuse disconnect switch is also important. It should be installed in a readily accessible location near the receptacle. This allows the operator to quickly reach the disconnect switch in case of an emergency. The disconnect switch should also be clearly labeled to indicate its purpose. The NEC also addresses the grounding requirements for welders. Section 630.12 states that welders shall be grounded in accordance with Article 250. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, which helps to protect against electric shock. The grounding conductor must be properly sized and connected to the welder's frame and any exposed metal parts. In addition to the NEC requirements, local electrical codes may also have specific requirements for welder installations. It is important to check with local authorities to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. The installation of a fuse disconnect switch for a welder receptacle is a critical safety measure. It provides a readily accessible means of disconnecting the power to the welder in case of an emergency or for maintenance purposes. It also provides overcurrent protection to prevent damage to the welder and reduce the risk of electrical hazards. The NEC requires a disconnecting means for each welder, and a fuse disconnect switch meets this requirement. When selecting a fuse disconnect switch for a welder receptacle, it is important to consider the following factors. Firstly, the voltage and amperage rating of the welder. The disconnect switch must be rated for the voltage and amperage of the welder. Secondly, the interrupting rating of the disconnect switch. The disconnect switch must have an interrupting rating that is equal to or greater than the available fault current to the receptacle location. Thirdly, the type of enclosure. The enclosure must be suitable for the environment in which it will be installed. For example, if the receptacle is located outdoors, the enclosure must be weatherproof. Fourthly, the size of the fuses. The fuses must be sized according to the welder's nameplate rating. Fifthly, the listing of the disconnect switch. The disconnect switch must be listed by a recognized testing laboratory such as Underwriters Laboratories or UL. The installation of the fuse disconnect switch should be performed by a qualified electrician. The electrician will ensure that the disconnect switch is properly installed and wired according to the NEC and local electrical codes. The electrician will also verify that the disconnect switch is properly grounded and that the fuses are correctly sized. Regular maintenance of the fuse disconnect switch is also important. The disconnect switch should be inspected periodically to ensure that it is in good working condition. The fuses should be checked to ensure that they are not blown or damaged. Any loose connections should be tightened. If the disconnect switch is not functioning properly, it should be repaired or replaced by a qualified electrician. In Massachusetts, the NEC is typically adopted with some state-specific amendments. Therefore, it is crucial to consult the Massachusetts Electrical Code, which is based on the NEC, to ensure full compliance. Additionally, local city or town ordinances may have further requirements. The Massachusetts Electrical Code may have specific regulations regarding the type of disconnect required, the placement of the disconnect, and the specific types of fuses that are acceptable. These regulations are designed to enhance safety and ensure that electrical installations meet the unique needs of the state. Portable welders, while offering flexibility, still require stringent safety measures. The fuse disconnect switch ensures that in case of a malfunction or emergency, the power can be quickly and safely cut off. The location of the disconnect should be easily accessible and clearly marked so that anyone using the welder can quickly locate and operate it. The disconnect switch must be rated appropriately for the voltage and current of the welder. Using an undersized switch can lead to overheating and failure, while using an oversized switch may not provide adequate protection. Fuses within the disconnect switch are a critical component of the overcurrent protection system. The fuses should be selected based on the welder's nameplate rating and should be of the correct type for the disconnect switch. The fuses should also be regularly inspected to ensure that they are in good condition. A qualified electrician should perform the installation of the fuse disconnect switch and the wiring of the receptacle. The electrician will ensure that all connections are tight and that the wiring is properly sized and insulated. The electrician will also verify that the grounding system is properly installed and that the welder is effectively grounded. Grounding is essential for preventing electrical shock and ensuring the safe operation of the welder. The grounding conductor should be connected to the welder's frame and to the grounding system of the building. Regular inspections of the welder, the receptacle, and the fuse disconnect switch are essential for maintaining safety. The inspection should include checking for loose connections, damaged wiring, and any signs of overheating. Any problems that are found should be corrected immediately by a qualified electrician. In addition to the fuse disconnect switch, other safety measures should be taken when using a portable welder. These measures include wearing appropriate personal protective equipment such as welding gloves, a welding helmet, and safety glasses. The work area should be well ventilated to prevent the buildup of hazardous fumes. Flammable material should be kept away from the welding area to prevent fires. The welder should be used in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. The operator should be properly trained in the safe operation of the welder. The importance of proper training cannot be overemphasized. A well-trained operator is more likely to recognize potential hazards and take appropriate precautions to prevent accidents. Training should include instruction on the safe operation of the welder, the proper use of personal protective equipment, and the procedures for responding to emergencies. The specific requirements for welder installations can vary depending on the type of welder, the location of the installation, and the local electrical codes. It is essential to consult the NEC and the local electrical codes to ensure that the installation is in compliance with all applicable regulations. A qualified electrician can provide guidance on the specific requirements for your installation and can ensure that the installation is performed safely and correctly. Failing to comply with the NEC and local electrical codes can result in fines, penalties, and even legal action. More importantly, it can create a hazardous situation that could lead to serious injury or death. Therefore, it is essential to take the necessary steps to ensure that your welder installation is safe and in compliance with all applicable regulations. The purpose of a fuse disconnect switch is to provide a safe and convenient way to energize the welder for maintenance or repair. The switch allows the operator to disconnect the power to the welder without having to go back to the main electrical panel. This can save time and effort, and it can also reduce the risk of electrical shock. The disconnect switch should be located in a readily accessible location near the welder. This allows the operator to quickly and easily disconnect the power to the welder in case of an emergency. The switch should be clearly labeled so that anyone can identify it. The disconnect switch should be installed in accordance with the NEC and local electrical codes. A qualified electrician should perform the installation to ensure that it is done safely and correctly. The installation should include proper grounding and wiring. The disconnect switch should be tested to ensure that it is functioning properly. Regular maintenance of the disconnect switch is essential for ensuring its continued safe and reliable operation. The switch should be inspected periodically for any signs of damage or wear. Any loose connections should be tightened. The switch should be lubricated as needed. If the switch is not functioning properly, it should be repaired or replaced by a qualified electrician. The NEC provides detailed requirements for the installation of disconnect switches. These requirements cover the size and type of switch, the location of the switch, the wiring of the switch, and the grounding of the switch. The NEC also requires that the disconnect switch be listed by a recognized testing laboratory. The listing ensures that the switch has been tested and meets certain safety standards. The local electrical codes may also have additional requirements for disconnect switches. It is essential to consult the local electrical codes to ensure that your installation is in compliance with all applicable regulations. A qualified electrician can help you to understand the NEC and local electrical codes and can ensure that your disconnect switch is installed safely and correctly. The use of a fused disconnect switch is an important safety measure that can help to prevent electrical accidents. By providing a safe and convenient way to de-energize the welder, the disconnect switch can help to protect workers from electrical shock and other hazards. The fused disconnect switch also provides overcurrent protection for the welder, which can help to prevent damage to the equipment. The fuses in the disconnect switch are designed to trip if the current exceeds a certain level. This protects the welder from damage caused by short circuits or overloads. The fuses should be sized appropriately for the welder. The size of the fuses should be based on the welder's nameplate rating. A qualified electrician can help you to determine the correct size of fuses for your welder. The fuses should be inspected periodically to ensure that they are in good condition. If a fuse is blown, it should be replaced with a fuse of the same size and type. The fuses should be replaced by a qualified electrician. A fused disconnect switch is an important component of a safe and reliable welder installation. By following the NEC and local electrical codes, and by using a qualified electrician, you can ensure that your welder is installed safely and correctly. The use of a fused disconnect switch is required for 60 amps, 208 volts, single-phase receptacle used with a portable welder in Massachusetts, given the NEC and local amendments. This is to ensure the safety of the operator and to protect the equipment from damage. A fused disconnect switch provides a readily accessible means of disconnecting power and overcurrent protection.